All right, guys, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the spin-off, the third live action series spin-off from original series, Next Generation, but really the fourth because you have the animated series. So you have the original Star Trek with Captain Kirk and Spock, then you have the animated or the cartoon series, and then you have Next Generation, and then Deep Space Nine. But however you want to put it in whatever order and whatever type of estimation, Deep Space Nine was popular, was wonderful, but not all episodes are going to work, right? Not everything's going to wow everyone. And looking over doing the research, I was really happy to find that the Deep Space Nine that I wrote, Profit Motive, was not among the hated. I couldn't find it. It was not least liked or hated, so that was a real good thing to discover. But here we go. These are the top 5 most hated, least liked, at least by ratings for the fans. Meridian, Season 3, Episode 8. A Jadzia Dax love story? You got it. And Dax, her luck, has to fall in love with love. She falls in love with a man from a planet that phases between dimensions. And who doesn't like a nice love story, right? Who doesn't like space-born science fiction romance, right? But in this case, and I'd have to agree, most fans felt the romance was sort of weak and maybe predictable. Also, because of the plot device, because of this planet that phases between dimensions, we know, obviously, Dax is a main character of Deep Space Nine, so she's not going anywhere. She's not going anywhere until we know what does happen to Dax later. But what I'm saying is that it's very predictable. We know that her love in this planet is going to go bye-bye, and we're pretty sure that Dax isn't going to go with him. So I think that's what really, it doesn't work for me. It's not a really awful episode. It's just sort of predictable. It's sort of, weak and sort of, probably the least best Dax episode too. There you go. The Muse, Season 4, Episode 20. This is primarily a Jake Sisko episode and his weird sort of succubus type of alien who feeds on his creativity. It's also a Loxana Troy pregnancy episode. So we've got these dual, stories, plot lines competing for one another. And I don't think it just works on many levels. The Jake Sisko and an alien story, it's interesting to say, a writer can get inspired by some sort of like force, outside his own, sort of existence. And that whole classic Greek concept, right? The ancient Greek concept of a muse. You're being inspired, the muses. But here, it's just sort of, it's sort of weak. It's sort of, dare I say, sort of corny or, sort of over-the-top predictable. Loxana Troy's pregnancy, certainly, as a recurring character, she's important, and that's okay, I guess, but the muse kind of falls flat for most fans. Let He Who Is Without Sin, Season 5, Episode 7. This is a Risa episode, and I'm sure you guys know what Risa is. That's that pleasure planet, the vacation planet, sort of a planet that's completely Club Med. No sort of technological or certainly limited, or it's just a beautiful paradise. There you go. It's paradise, right? So Worf, Dax, and other crew members of Deep Space Nine, they go to Risa. They find themselves all sort of like bouncing around and bumping into each other. So it's, I rewatched it the other day, and again, there are worse episodes maybe, but there's just something out of sort of character. I think many people felt that, especially for Worf, it just didn't fit. It didn't sort of align with what we know these characters to be. Certainly, it was nice to see Risa, and it's a wonderfully done episode in that way, but in terms of the character developments and their sort of interaction. And then it's supposed to be, of course, it is a comedy. It's supposed to be comedic in certain ways, but that sort of, I think fails. It flops. Okay, Prophet and Lace, Season 6, Episode 23. What can we say about a Quark in drag episode, a sort of a Some Like It Hot meet Star Trek and Deep Space Nine? And there are moments, certainly Armin Shimmerman is so fun. He's always great, as Quark. Here, of course, he's doing an in drag performance. So he's got to convince people that he's a female, taking over for his mom who gets sick. And it's weird because, rewatching, I've rewatched it several times. Again, there's moments, it is comedic. Certainly if you like the Ferengi, it's sort of a must watch for the Ferengi. It's one of the Ferengi episodes, but it just doesn't sort of hold up. Many big sites say just skip it, don't even bother. I say again, if you like Ferengi, why not? The website, Comic Book Resources said it is one of the Star Trek episodes that are so bad they must be seen. So there you go. So bad they must be seen. Take a watch if you want to see a bad one. And finally, Move Along Home, Season 1, Episode 10. Even saying the name, the episode title, Move Along Home. Originally, Michael Piller, who sort of concocted the idea, the original title was called Sore Losers. And, it's just, I hate this episode. I just do. It is by far, I think, the worst of almost any Star Trek. Now, you can say there's lots of reasons why. For me, it's just this incredible silliness of the episode. It's just hard to describe unless you've seen it. You've got to watch it. And it's basically like a strange game, this alien race called the Wadi, and they are, sort of testing or, I don't know, experimenting. We've seen that many times, and it's just a game, and, there are consequences and sort of punishments, but you just got to see it or not. It is gained complete, infamous reputation, real infamy as one of the worst episodes of the entire series of Deep Space Nine and any Star Trek. And I think what happens a lot of times, it's not even so much a story, it's not so much the plot, the story, the episode, and it's the vibe you get. It's this visceral feeling that you get. And for me, it's just, I never want to see this episode again. Should I rewatch? Maybe, but I've watched it far enough and I can't imagine doing that again. So there they are, top 5 or the most hated, the least liked. And what do you think? You might like them, you might not. It's up to you. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you're subscribing. See you soon.